Hey guys, my name is Dee, this is Heroine's Code, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be talking about 6 books that will self-destruct in 12 months. So I'm sure everyone has seen these types of videos pop up on their subscription box feed, whatever you call it, and I want to do it because, of course, as you saw from my other video about why I hate my books, I need to read my physical TBR and I need to read it quickly. I know I'm said like 12 months to self-destruct, but I might even get rid of them quicker than that, like maybe in the next like 8 months or something. But I'm giving myself 12 months. I'm giving myself that type of space. Is the traffic okay today? It's making so much noise. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Rainbow Milk by Paul Mendes, and this is an adult fiction, literary fiction novel. It takes place partly in the Black country in the 1950s when we're following an old Jamaican man and his family, and he just wants the best for his family now that they're in the UK. And then we also follow, I think it's like his son, who around the turn of the millennia goes to London to try and find himself and to kind of break away from the repressive environment of his like family like in the Black country. But he finds himself turned into sex work and that kind of intense situation, and he's trying to find himself here and like fatherhood, spirituality, stuff like that. Why is this on the chopping block? I've tried to read this book 3 separate times and I just wasn't engaged. And I am kind of worried about that because a lot of people really do like this book. So I was hoping that I would be engaged from like the very beginning, but that really has not been the case. And so I picked it up and had to like put it down and think, oh, maybe I just need more time. Picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down. It's like, is this just not gonna be the book for me? Like, I don't know, maybe it's the writing style, maybe it's just a bit too slow for me. Like, I'm trying to be patient with some of the books I read. Like, it isn't a race to finish books, but also like I don't want to spend ages reading a book. I hope that person's okay. If I'm spending ages reading a book, it tells me that I'm not reading the right book. Like, if you have read this book, tell me when it picks up so I kind of know when I should, how long I should keep reading for until I just figure out if this book is for me or not. Like, tell me around, like, is it halfway through? I need to get halfway through and then I'm like invested in it. Like, just let me know so I know. But I do want to read this book this year. I don't want to give it up because, you know, people like it. But if it isn't for me, it's just wasting space on my shelves, and it isn't for me, it's just wasting space on my shelves. So Rainbow Milk, that's the first one. The next book I'm going to talk about is Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. So this book was actually on like my fantasy TBR last year, and it still basically is on my fantasy TBR because it's a fantasy and I haven't read it. So this is like adult epic fantasy, African mythology inspired. I'm not sure what type of African mythology. So this book has been on my shelf for ages. I was really excited to read it. Like, I don't really know a lot about the synopsis. I think it's just like a typical hero, but the hero might be morally gray. Like, I don't really know a lot about this book. It says like Game of Thrones meets Gladiator, and I haven't watched Game of Thrones and I'm not the biggest fan of Gladiator. So that bodes well. I was really excited to read this because I heard it compared to Red Rising, and Red Rising is like my favorite trilogy of all time. But then I feel like a lot more people have read it over the past year and I've been seeing mixed things about it. So I am very cautious, but I want to read this kind of soon just so like I can work out whether or not like I actually enjoy this book or not. It's 500 pages. That makes me scared. It makes me scared, but I'm really hoping it's good because like an epic, you know, African inspired fantasy is like amazing. But if it's not good, then it's not good. So the next book I've got is also like a popular non-fiction book, and that is Don't Touch My Hair by Emma DeBerry. And this is a non-fiction about black hair and about the science of black hair and the history of black hair and the culture surrounding black hair. And I was really enjoying this book, and I kind of got like, I felt like I got 50 pages in and then I put it down, and then it was hard to pick up because the writing is very dense. Like, this is not just like a fluffy non-fiction about black hair. Like, it's a detailed non-fiction about black hair, which I very much appreciate, but it just means that like when I put it down, it was kind of hard for me to pick back up again. I feel like if I don't read it this year, like I don't know when I'm going to read it. Maybe it won't be a thing that I unhaul it. I'll just give it to my sister, so like I can just like take it from my sister whatever time I want. But I wouldn't want it on my shelves if I don't read it in the next 12 months, because it will get kind of ridiculous. I've tried to pick up this book many times, and it just hasn't been the time. Like, and because like it's very dense in some fiction, I need time to like process what the hell's actually like what I'm reading, and I just haven't had that time. I haven't had that energy to process what I'm reading, so that's why it's on the chopping block. The next book I got is another like adult fiction, literary fiction, and that is Hold by Michael Donkor. And I tried to pick this up for Blackathon last year. I started reading it and I put it down. This is a book about two girls. One of them's like from Ghana, and then one of them like lives in the UK. And then like the Ghana girl, like she's like a house girl who gets taken to the UK to kind of school the other girl of how to be like a good young lady. It feels like it's given like nice story vibes, but not like, oh, I need to definitely read this book. But I feel like once I read this book, it might be like a book that I will be surprised about, and like I actually really enjoy it, and like I can recommend it to people. But we'll never know until I actually read the book. So let's actually read this in the next 12 months. Like, let's actually do that. It's not even a long book as well. It's like, oh, it's just like, I think it's like under 300 pages. Like, I can read this book, but is it interesting? That's the question. The next book I'm going to talk about as well is another really quick read that I just haven't read. The Deep by Rivers Solomon, with David Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes contributing to the story. And this is a story about like black mermaids who collect memories, water-dwelling descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slave owners. Yeah, so it's slightly heavy, but it's a really quick read. Why haven't I read this yet? That's the question, isn't it? I did try to read it. I put it down. It wasn't like because it was boring. I just wasn't really feeling the story at the time. And then I haven't picked it up against Sid's because people are saying it was a mid-read. So you know what I mean, that's not the best endorsement for a book, is it? Especially when it's like that short. But because it's this short, I should be able to read this in the next 12 months. I'm not expecting brilliant things from it, but I do want to just read it because the premise is very interesting. You can't lie. Like, the premise of there being mermaids that were descendants of like pregnant women who jumped overboard, like of slave ships, like that is very compelling. It's a very compelling premise. So I do want to find out if I'll be some of the people who absolutely love this, or part of people who think it's just a mid-read. Oh, I want to know about that. And then the last book I want to talk about is a book that I kind of got on a whim last year, but I am interested in, but it hasn't been the time to pick it up. So the book I'm talking about is Grandkids by DJ Target, the inside story of the global grime takeover. And this is basically about grime music and how it emerged and how it became really popular. Like, I don't know how to really describe grime music if you're not like in the UK, or if you don't like listen to that sort of music. But it's really just popular music that people who live in the more urban areas of the UK, like inner cities, like we're talking London primarily, but like there's grime scenes like Birmingham and like Manchester and all across the country, to be honest. I do like grime music. It just isn't like my favorite genre, but I do understand the importance of grime music when it comes to Black British communities and identities, and I want to just read about that in a book. Grime really emerged like in London, like primarily, and not from London. Can you tell from my accent I'm not from London? So do you know what I mean? I don't really know that kind of the root history of that, so I am interested in reading about that root history of grime music. So those are the 6 books that will self-destruct in 12 months. To be honest, those are not the only books that will self-destruct in 12 months. But I kind of picked these out randomly, like across genres, just to show you guys like that every book's on the chopping block essentially. And yeah, like I really hope I get to them, because when I did buy them, I was excited for them, like I wanted to read them. So, and it's only 6 books, so if I can at least read these 6 books in the next 12 months, like 1 book every 2 months, like that should be fine. Please let me know if any of the books I talked about, if you've read them, if you like them, if you didn't like them, just let me know your thoughts. Please remember to follow my Twitter, subscribe to my channel, and like this video. But I'll see you guys in another video soon. Bye.